Welcome to the OC Weekly Market Updates. And what a historic week it has been. We are now living through a time period that people are going to tell stories about over the coming decades. This is one for the history books. Before we really dive in, you might notice I look a little bit different today. Maybe I look a little bit more suave today. And there's a reason for this. The reason for my change in appearance is because I've donned the essence of the bull market. I've donned my future Jesse clothing, my rich Jesse. I've become rich Jesse because you know where I'm heading? I'm heading to $100 million. And I can feel it in my bones this week. I can feel it literally in my bones this week. The market is heading somewhere glorious. It is heading somewhere historic. When crazy things like this happen, the other side of the crazy is always the mythical. It is always the legendary. It is always the bull market, utopia, wonderland, amazing, beautiful, awesome place. And that is where I want to be. That is where I am going in my head already. Yeah, I've already donned it. I've already become it. Okay, I've wrapped myself in the bull run that is to come. And so that gives you kind of a little peek inside my head and inside my mental state this week as everyone else is deteriorating, as everyone else is literally crying on X, losing their minds. You cuss, literally, I'll post a bullish post on X and I'm like, just like every comment is like somebody cussing me out, just super upset that I dare be bullish. That is the time. That is the peak opportunity time, okay? I'm telling you right now, everything feels right. I feel it in my bones, okay? My bones. The bull market is coming. I have not lost hope. Many have lost hope. Most, I would say, have lost hope. Go on X today. I want you to document this right now. Go on X today. Look at the posts. It is all negative. Look at the headlines. It is all negative. Everyone else is telling you we're going way lower. I just want this to be documented. I want this to be like sealed into just like the timeline right now is something you could point to. Everyone else is telling you we're going lower. Everyone else is telling you it's peak fear. Everything's going to collapse, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, they are wrong. Those people are the sheep of the market, and the sheep are there to get sheared. That is their job. That is literally their job. Their job is to lose money so that people that aren't the sheep make money later in the market. And that's us. That's us. That is our job. Our job is to make money, to shear the sheep. And you know what? Everyone plays a role. Everyone plays a role in the bull market. If you choose to be a sheep, you will get sheared. And I'm telling you right now, the only non-sheep option in this moment is to be bullish, okay? Because all the sheep are bearish. So if you choose to be bearish, you're just choosing to be the sheep, and the sheep get sheared. Okay, that's my warning. Let's dive into the charts. Let's look at what the charts are telling us right now. All right, let's look at this chart. Bitcoin is currently sitting around $77,000. Now, last night, I made my first buy with cash sitting on the sidelines for the first time since December. Okay, I've made purchases before, in between now and December, selling other cryptos and then buying other cryptos. But my cash has been sitting nice and comfy in my bank account, waiting for an opportunity. And I took my first opportunity last night, around $79,000 per Bitcoin. I bought into some positions. That was my first buy. Okay, it's a DCA strategy. I haven't sold my house. One of my things I'm in the process of doing is I'm selling my house. That house is going into the market. Honestly, if I had it right now, last night would have been a little bit bigger buy. Okay, I mean, even still saying this, we're down $2,000 or whatever. This is a DCA strategy. Okay, so I'm not going to buy it all in one clip. Buy a little bit, last night. If I had my house profits right now, I'd be buying a little bit more maybe today or tomorrow, a little bit more maybe in 2 or 3 days after that. And I'm just slowly DCAing in because at the moments of peak fear, at the moments when I'm getting text messages right now. People are like family members are texting me. They don't have crypto or investments at all. They have literally nothing. They're like, should I be worried about the economy? They don't even like pay attention to investments or macro or anything. There's like the fear has spread so far that people don't even have investments are texting me, being worried. Okay, what does that tell you? What does that? This is like an inverse. Your buddy out of the blue was texting you what crypto should you buy? Top signal. This is the inverse bottom signal that I'm getting right now. This is the time to buy. This in my head. This is time to buy. But we're gonna go through the details. Okay, that's not investment advice. That is strictly spiritual advice if you want to win and you want to live. Let's go further. Let's look further. Bitcoin chart only tells so much of the story. This is the chart that I'm really looking at, and that is the DXY chart. Dollar strength. This chart tells a tale. This tells a novel. Let me take a sip of this coffee. You guys, I have not had this much energy. I've not had this much joy and peace about the market for months. It has been misery. It has been misery. But the bull spirit is back for those who know it's back. And you know, this is the time. I feel it in my bones. Like I said, this chart tells a tale. Okay, this tells a tale. And really, we're gonna look at right here, because this is where the war is happening, right here. Okay, you can see dollar strength on tariff announcements fell off a cliff. Literally went from 104 all the way down to 101. But what did it do after? It rallied hard, all the way from 101 up to 103. This is the battleground. This is where the war is happening. In what war, you might be asking? This is the war between China and the US, between China and Trump. This is where, this is the camel, the needle that will break the camel's back, so to speak. Or, either way, okay? What does China want? What does the US want? Well, right now, Trump wants a stronger dollar. And you might be confused, because I always say Trump wants a weaker dollar. I'm talking about right now, to make a deal. Trump wants a stronger dollar, because a stronger dollar puts China's feet to the fire, okay? That literally puts the pressure on China to make a deal. If China gets a weaker dollar, if we get a weaker dollar right now, China's got breathing room. They have room to spread out, to relax, and to kind of wait out some of this chaos with the tariffs. But with a stronger dollar, they don't have as much room, because with a weaker dollar, they can stimulate, okay? They want to stimulate. They want to print money. That's their strategy. That's what we're hearing, okay? China wants to print a ton of money, so much money. They want to turn on that money printer. They want to be Jerome Powell, reincarnated from 2021. They want to print, baby, print, okay? That's Trump's drill, baby, drill. China's print, baby, print. That's what they want to do. But they need the dollar to weaken against their own currency. They need a weak dollar. They need it. Without the weak dollar, they can't print. They'll destroy their currency. They'll destroy their economy. They need the dollar to weaken. So Trump doesn't want it to weaken right now. He wants this dollar to be strong. And so that's where I'm saying you can see the battle playing out right here. China wants this to go down. Trump wants this to go up in the short term. And then he wants it to just absolutely fall off a cliff. And let me introduce you guys to a rumor, a whisper in your ear from back in the 2017 bull era. Something that just floated on the wind. And I'm talking about the Shanghai Accord of 2016. This was supposedly an agreement that G20 members reached to stabilize the Asian currencies and temper the strong US dollar. You can see right here, the Shanghai Accord, if it existed, would have aimed to influence the movement of the DXY. Let me show you the evidence. We can see here, as I've spelled out in like a bajillion videos, during the Trump election cycle, the dollar strengthened, okay? Remember, this is Trump during 2016. He's talking about China. He's talking about tariffing all these nations. He's talking about how we're getting ripped off by China. I mean, China was like his favorite word back in 2016, okay? So big deal back here. Trump's trying to work a deal with China. What we saw, as I've pointed out a million times, is we saw the dollar kind of, go sideways here for a couple months, then fall off an absolute cliff in April, okay? Do you have this rumor, this deal that, the G20 nations are going to weaken the US dollar to, help Asian currencies? And it seems to be just that, just a rumor. Just maybe they had a meeting, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But Trump comes into office, and this guy's a deal maker. He wants to make a deal with China, and he uses the strong US dollar as leverage to make a deal with China, weakening the US dollar, because that's in his interest. He wants a weak dollar too. That makes him happy. That makes China happy, but he knows it's leverage, so he holds it strong up until April and then drops it off a cliff. I mean, you just see the dollar nuke from 103 at its peak all the way down to 88. This is just a bloodbath for the dollar. Really, really good for China. They're allowed to stimulate. Other countries are stimulating, and we have the bull run of a lifetime. It's absolutely amazing. And that happens to be in Trump's second term, back in 2025. the exact situation that we're in right now. Right now, China is the key to everything. Trump is trying to work a deal with China, and he's holding the whole world hostage to get this deal done. Now, this is pure speculation, but this is my belief on how things are currently going down. I believe that behind the scenes, a lot of the deals that Trump is working are including some sort of pressure on China. If he's working on a deal with Taiwan, if he's working on a deal with Vietnam, there's something in there about, hey, let's put pressure on China. Let's put pressure on China. If you want to work a deal with us, you're going to also put pressure on China because maybe somehow, China finds a way to survive without the US, but can it survive without the entire world? I highly doubt that. So Trump wants to put as much pressure on China as possible to get the best deal as possible. Maybe you don't believe that. Maybe you think, Trump lost his mind. He actually wants these tariffs. I do believe he actually believes in tariffs. I do believe that is a belief of his. But I believe the current implementation of tariffs is an over-exaggeration. It's a form of extreme anchoring to put pressure on the rest of the world to give Trump the deal he wants. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe that's incorrect. And maybe, Trump really does want this like crazy extreme tariffs to go up and he thinks it's going to be a good source of income for the US. Either way you cut it, he's going to realize very quickly that that is incorrect. There's just no way that that's going to play out. Trump tries to hold this into the midterms. The Republicans will lose the midterms extremely badly. All the work he's trying to do is going to get undermined. And then going into the next election, Democrats are going to win and they're going to just roll back everything he's done. And his legacy is going to be that he did absolutely nothing. He's got to realize this. His cabinet around him's got to realize this. So either way you put it, he's going to cave at some point. Either that was his plan or that will become his plan. But he is absolutely going to cave. And the ideal outcome is that we get true reciprocal tariffs. If you want to put a tariff on us, we'll put a tariff on you. If you want to take your tariff to zero, we'll take our tariff to zero. The ideal outcome is that Trump is playing that game. That's his push, or that he switches, or whatever. Who even cares? We're looking for the outcome, not whether Trump is some 4D chess mastermind. We just want the outcome. And what we want to see is crazy deal making behind the scenes, free trade, all these things go to zero. We put the pressure on China. We come out with a deal to weaken the US dollar. The US dollar absolutely falls off a cliff. China is allowed to, unleash their liquidity bazooka into their economy. The global M2 starts skyrocketing, and we have the bull run of a lifetime. That's all we care about, okay? We're in the markets. We're here to make money. That's the whole point of listening to this podcast. You're not here to talk about politics. You're not here to talk about, is Trump a 4D chess master or not? We're here to talk about what's going to happen. And I'm saying either way, Trump is going to either come to the realization that this is just not going to work, or this has all been a negotiation tactic to put pressure on the rest of the world. Play it off that he's calm, he's out golfing, he doesn't care. That's poker face, okay? That is put it on your poker face and saying, you know what, I don't care. I'm in no rush. You guys can bleed out, the rest of the world, and maybe I'll make a deal. Maybe I won't. Maybe I actually believe this. Maybe I'm actually going to keep these tariffs in place, and you better beg for my mercy that I don't, because otherwise your entire economy is going to collapse. But I don't care. I live in the U.S. I'm a crazy person. I'll do whatever I want because I'm crazy. That is an ideal negotiation position. If that's the case, if it's not the case, and he's lost his mind, he's going to come to Jesus really quick, because if he doesn't, he's going to lose all his support. Midterms are going to be an absolute bloodbath. And like I said, all of this is going to get walked back. He has no choice. If he has this dream of a tariff utopia, he's never going to realize it. He has no choice. He's either got to make these deals, get true reciprocal tariffs, bring everything to zero, or we go into a global recession. Midterms, like I said, are a bloodbath, and this whole thing gets walked back. Obviously, the camp that I sit in. If I'm deploying cash, it's not because I believe we're about to head into a recession and, everyone's fear is justified and the whole, global economy is going to collapse. It's because I believe this is about to give. This dam is about to break. And on the other side of that dam is a ocean full of liquidity pouring out from China into the crypto markets, pumping up all of my bags. That is my belief. That is where I believe. I'm choosing to believe. I am choosing to have faith. You can choose to listen to the sheep, okay? If that's what you want to do, if you want to listen, if you want to be among the sheep, you will feel good. You will feel right. You will feel safe as you get absolutely sheared both sides of the market. Now we're going to look at an asset that some of you guys don't expect, and don't freak out when I say this. We're going to look at XRP really quick. You might be thinking, I've lost my mind. Jesse, why are you looking at XRP? Are you about to buy some XRP? No, I'm not going to buy any XRP. The last time I bought XRP was in 2017 when I was dumb. Okay. Back then I was really dumb. I didn't know what I was doing. Bought XRP, thought it was super smart. Only 21 cents, but I was super dumb, okay? That's not what we're looking at. What we're looking at is we want to see the 2017 cycle. How did alts do? When did they really take off? Maybe some of you guys weren't around back then, but 2017 cycle, XRP was like gold. That was one of the most popular. That was like the Solana of that cycle. Okay, then you had ADA. That was really big back then. So we're gonna look at a lot of those cryptos that were big back in the 2017 cycle to look at how alts performed. Remember, ETH is kind of a little, it's in its infancy. Actually, XRP used to be like the number 2 crypto. So it was like Litecoin, Bitcoin, XRP. XRP, I believe, was number 2. Maybe it was like number 3. But it was ahead of ETH for a little bit there, okay? It actually had the ETH position for a while, and then ETH took it and never gave it back. But yeah, so we're going to look at it really quick. Looking at here, 2016, or where are we at? April. Here's April 2017. You can see XRP. Well, we're on April 8th. We'll go to April 8th. Okay, we can't go to April 8th. Let me just zoom in a little bit more for this. Now, can we go to April 8th? Oh, yeah, whatever. April 12th, okay? It's closest one we got. XRP sitting at 3 cents. And you can see it's kind of sitting there. Alts aren't really doing good. Alts aren't really doing much until late April when it's now at 5 cents. Okay, so 3 to 5 cents. It's almost doubled in price. It's pretty good. And then May, this thing's about 10 cents. So this thing's like tripled in price. And then blow off top for XRP in May, where it goes to 36 cents. That's insane. Okay, 36 cents goes from 3 cents to 36 cents. Can you imagine that? You got your life savings in XRP sitting down here at 2. Maybe you bought it at 1 cent or sub 1 cent back here. Okay, can you imagine? And then here it goes to 36 cents. You made a fortune. You're rich. You're looking at your super yachts you're gonna buy or whatever. And then it falls off a cliff. You are crying. 36 cents. 20 cents. And it's just over here in late. What is this? In 5/18, 36 cents. A week later, huge sell off in May. And then it just kind of continues to bleed all the way down to, what is this? 17, 15 cents, 17 cents, 15 cents, somewhere in there in September. Okay. So it just kind of bleeds out before it absolutely skyrockets in December from 25 cents to $3. Okay. Wow. Jeez. Wow. And going back to 2016 to show you what I mean, see XRP number 2, Bitcoin number 1, Ethereum's sitting here number 3, like Litecoin sitting here number 4. Okay, this is the old world. This is the world. This is the streets I grew up on. Okay, but here's April 9th. This is literally one day from today, the day I'm recording this. April 9th, 2017. Bitcoin sitting at 1,100. ETH is sitting at 43. XRP is sitting at 3 cents. Dash is sitting at $64. Litecoin sitting at $8. Let's look at some of these things and kind of see when they take off. So we'll first look at Dash. Go back to this 2017 cycle, kind of zoom in here. Dash sitting around $60 in April. By May, it's around $92, so it's heading higher. By June, it's around $163. And you can see this thing just kind of steadily climbs all the way into the end of the year where it absolutely went off a cliff, skyrocketed, not off a cliff. It absolutely climbed a mountain to $1,200 in December of 2017. Litecoin as well was sitting around $10 around this time in 2017. It then climbed up by May to around $28, so it almost tripled. By June, it's $47, so it's now almost 5x. And then it kind of just went sideways for a little bit till by September, it's around $65. And then again, in December, it went up to $359. Let's also take a look at Stellar. And again, I'm trying to get a feel for when did alts really take off in this 2017 year, because so far it's been eerily similar. You can see, the price is kind of flat, across the board going into March or whatever. And then it's around late April. So we're at what, I don't even know what to call that, like sub 2 zeros and a 3 cent down there. And then we go to 2 zeros and a 6 cent. So we've doubled by May. And then by, late May or whatever, kind of mid-May, we're at 6 cents, which is, wow, this thing has just skyrocketed. And then it kind of declines. This is similar to XRP. It declines into the end of the year. And then similar to XRP, it skyrockets. Wow, this actually goes into 2018, skyrockets to 73 cents. All right, finally, let's look at Golem. You can see this one actually takes off a little bit earlier, heading up into April. It's sitting around 7 cents. And then by May, it's sitting around 24 cents. And then around June, it's sitting at 60 cents. And then you can see it also takes off going into early 2018, sitting around $1.08. The reason I'm highlighting this is you can see it's not very interesting price action going up until April. And then when dollar strength starts to fall off a cliff in April, we see the prices of these things absolutely skyrocket, where the entire 2017 like alt season bull cycle basically plays out like you have some of these tokens that kind of play out like a mini rally into May and then decline into September and then have a rally at the end of the year. And then you have other tokens that seem to kind of just rally from May into September. And then across the board, it seems like everything had that really explosive move up in late December of 2017. So if some of you guys thinking, hey, alt season can't happen, we don't have enough time, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it still can happen because in 2017, we saw the same exact thing. We saw the exact same thing play out where you had this really compressed cycle where everything just went absolutely insane in a shorter period of time. You had a really similar situation where, the market wasn't doing much. It wasn't feeling the vibes early 2017. And then you had things really peak into spring, early summer. And then you saw things absolutely go crazy in the second half of 2017. And as far as I'm concerned, that is still on the table. Alt season is still in play. I don't care what people are saying. I don't care, we didn't have it the same way we had it in 2021. Alt season didn't start in February. We didn't have everything take off, blah, 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 blah. But look at everything look at everything that is happening on a global scale. You're having the depression, the market collapse spring coiling, okay? When the market collapses like this, when the whole world is freaking out, when it's peak fear, that's like a spring compressing. That's like a spring getting pushed down. And you know what happens after that spring is let loose? The entire market just like melts up in this epic, crazy fashion. And that is what we're priming to do. And we're really just one catalyst away from this entire market turning back the other way. And that is what I'm anticipating. That is what I'm waiting for. Right now, we're in the doldrums of like kind of just waiting for that to happen. But, we don't know exactly if it's going to be today, is it going to be tomorrow, is it going to be next week? I'm kind of betting it's going to be this week because I started deploying cash this week. And I put a post out on X saying that I believe we end the week higher. We're at $79,000 Bitcoin when I started that. When I said that, I believe we'll be higher by the end of the week. It's just Tuesday, so we have a lot of room to go. But any bullish announcement, any kind of like resolve or resolution or clarity around this is going to send us higher because we're at peak fear. Everyone's pricing in the literal apocalypse. And unless you actually believe that we're going to see this literal 2008 level apocalypse, then things are going to turn around and be a lot better and we're going to spring higher from here. And the Fed right now is stuck between like, do they cut, do they not cut? Is it going to cause inflation to spurs it not? Right now, the entire stock market's melting down. Okay, clearly this whole like tariffs are going to cause a rapid, spout of inflation isn't playing out as people expected because when the stock market's collapsing and people stop spending, you're not going to get a rapid increase in inflation. And if you look at trueflation right here, you can see, as we've been highlighting, it's been falling off a cliff. And we saw this little resurgence that kind of like in March, we're like, okay, what is this going to mean? Hopefully this is just a little bump. And then it fell off and went even lower, okay? It went down to 1.22. And we have a CPI print this week on Thursday, in 2 days after this video comes out. And if that comes in cooler than people expect, I think what you're going to start seeing is you're going to start seeing the bond market price in more cuts from the Fed. And you know what the Fed can't ignore? It's the bond market pricing in more cuts from the Fed. When the bond market starts doing that, the Fed just has to shake their head and say, okay, that's what we're going to do. Because if they don't do it, they're going to end up pushing the market even further and make the collapse worse. And so when the bond market starts pricing in more cuts, remember, everyone's been saying 1 to 2. I've been saying 4 or more. The Fed's going to start cutting. They're going to start saying, okay, we're going to cut. Now, we may or may not get an emergency cut from the Fed. That's a hard choice to make because if you do an emergency cut from the Fed, that could actually collapse the stock market further because there's like, people just freak out about that. So may or may not, they might just wait till their next meeting and then start cutting there. So it's not like this emergency cut and that's more of a bullish thing. But either way, liquidity is coming. Weaker dollar is coming. The deals are coming because you have to be an optimist. You got to believe in something in this situation. You can't just be like, oh my gosh, the whole world's ending. The whole world is going to collapse, blah, 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 blah. Because the people that believe that are never right, except for like never. Okay. If you go back to 2008, you go back to 2020, you go back to all these situations, the world did not collapse. Things ended up being way better on the other side. And we all made a ridiculous amount of money after these like cataclysmic historic events. We're in the midst of a cataclysmic historic event. And on the other side of this is one of the greatest wealth building, money making opportunities of our lifetime. I feel it in my bones, you guys, in my bones. So we have CPI print coming in this week. That could be the positive catalyst. Trump coming out, making the first with Vietnam, we're doing a 0 for 0 tariffs. That could be the catalyst. I don't know what it's going to be. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong by 1 or 2 weeks. Maybe I'm off 1 or 2 weeks or something like that. Maybe I don't perfectly time the bottom. If I do, it's kind of a miracle. That's a little bit of luck if I perfectly time it. It's just kind of a gut feeling. Maybe I'm off by 1 or 2 weeks, but I'm telling you right now, on the other side of this, it is going to be Valhalla is on the other side of this. Okay, we're gonna make so much money, it's going to hurt. You're gonna say, please, Mr. Jesse, no more winning. That's what you're gonna. That is what you're gonna say. Okay, but I'm gonna say no. There's more winning ahead. There's more winning ahead, child. You're gonna have to win even harder. That's what I'm gonna be saying to you on the other side of this, because it's going to be so bad. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna hurt. So much money will be going into your pocket. You're just gonna not know what to do with all this money. You're gonna be like, what do I do with all this money? What do I do with all this money I'm making? That is my belief. That is my belief, and that's why I'm in the process of selling my house. That money's going into the market. As soon as I can get that, I'm like, my real estate agent, I'm like, speed this up. I need this money. It's going into the market. I'm trying to become a deca millionaire, not deca, a centa millionaire. I'm trying to make $100 million. Okay, I want to get there. I need this house money. It's going in the market because we're about to have a 2017 style redux. It's the remix of 2017, and it's going to be banging. We're going to love this. We're going to be like, yes, thank you, Mr. President. No more winning. Okay, that's what we're going to be saying. No more winning. We can't handle it. My mind can't handle it. I don't know what to do. That's what's coming. I'm telling you right now. Most people are bullish at the top of the market. I'm bullish when we crater. I'm bullish in the pits of the market. I only get like this. This part of me, this part of me only comes out when things are at their worst, because that's the point. Night is often darkest before the dawn. Okay, so whoever came up with that is a genius because it's so correct. Okay, don't listen to the sheep. Listen to the people that are not the sheep, and the people that are not the sheep right now are the ones that aren't crying on X. They're the ones that aren't scared, shaking in the closet. They're the ones that are standing on the streets triumphantly buying with fistfuls of money every cent they have. They're unloading on the markets because they know where we're headed next. And I know where we're headed next. You know where we're headed next. We are headed to the promised land. It is still ahead. It is still coming. I can feel it in my bones. Now, I have some sad news to kind of end this with. This is going to be my last market update that is on the podcast. After this, it's exclusive to the OC. There's going to be no more of these market updates out on YouTube and no more of these market updates out on Spotify. I might occasionally, once in a blue moon, maybe I throw one of these out there for free on, the feed just because for some reason. But in general, after this one, it's going exclusive to the OC. I explained 2 podcasts ago why I'm doing this. I'm not just like, it's not like I just got suddenly crazy greedy and I'm like, I need to make money. I need to put this behind a paywall. That isn't why I do it. It has to do with like just me being able to focus and just kind of organize things, okay? But if that's something you're wanting access to and that's something you're interested along with everything else that comes with the OC, I am going to be opening up the OC as of the time of recording this podcast. So as of the time you're watching this, there's a link in the description of this video. This is exclusive to people listening to this podcast. You're going to be able to click that link. You're going to be able to sign up. I'm giving you 24 hours. So there's going to be a 24-hour period that makes sure that like if you're in a weird time zone, people in Australia always hate me because I'm always open at like 2 in the morning their time. So no matter what your time zone, you're going to be able to join as long as it doesn't get too crazy and there's not too many people joining, which I don't expect. Everyone's like shaking in the closets right now. They don't want to join a membership. They'll join the membership at the peak of the bull market, and that's when they're going to be like trying to pile in. Anyways, it'll be open for 24 hours. So exactly 24 hours. Well, I guess actually not 24 hours exactly. I'll say at 5 p.m. Eastern time, it'll get closed. So 5 p.m. on Wednesday Eastern time, I will close it up. I'll close it up sooner than that. If for some reason, like if I'm wrong for some reason, a huge influx of people join, I really don't expect that. There's like my podcast views like range from like on the first day, it's like 300 to 600 views because my podcast is newer. I don't get a crazy amount of views on the podcast. So I don't think it's going to be too crazy. As I mentioned earlier, though, you don't have to join the OC to kind of hear my market updates in a sense. Like I still post videos on YouTube. I kind of do deep dives on like specific thematic topics, and I'm still talking about a lot of this stuff. I still post a lot of stuff on X. You can kind of get the gist of all that, less organized and less coherent in those places. So you definitely don't have to sign up for this. If you don't have the money, please don't do it. If you like only have like $500, $1,000 you're investing, stupid. Don't join the OC. Go spend that money investing or actually learning in the markets. It's gonna be way more valuable for you than joining the OC. This is for like people you have like $5,000 and above to invest in the market. You're like really serious about this. That is for those people. If that's not you, again, YouTube, Twitter. You got to put in a little bit more work to get it all together, but you're going to get all the same kind of gist of information. As always, none of this is investment advice. None of this is me telling you to do anything. Listen, I'm crazy bullish. I'm super excited. I feel it in my bones, like I've been saying, but you're grown adults. You have to make decisions for yourselves, and you have to own those decisions when you make it. You can't like come cry to me if like I'm wrong, okay? If I'm wrong, I've already paid the price. I've already paid the price in blood. I'm literally selling my house, putting it in the market. If I'm wrong, I'm poor. Come find me at the homeless shelter, and we can have a meal together. We can drink some hot cocoa. I hear they make great hot cocoa, and we'll go sign up for McDonald's together. Okay, that's where you'll find me. I've already paid the price if that's the case. So don't worry about that. You don't have to punish me. You don't have to come, verbally assault me in the comments or whatever. You can. If that makes you feel better, it doesn't bother me. So you can come like say all that, get it out. It doesn't help you though. You can't be a victim your whole life and be like, oh my gosh, it's everyone else's fault that I'm not succeeding. Sorry. This is the hard truth. It's always gonna be your fault. You're not succeeding. You're choosing to listen to this YouTube video. And again, I don't know if I can't actually, I'm not a wizard. I can't actually predict the future. I do my absolute best, and I have all my own money on the line. I believe in the words I'm saying. But I could still be wrong. You have to take ownership for your own actions. If you're not succeeding in life, if you're struggling, it's not going to help you by blaming other people, because now it's like everyone else's fault you're not succeeding, and you have to wait for them to fix your problems. If you blame yourself for not succeeding, guess who gets to fix your problems? You do. That means you have all the power to make your life better. You can suddenly say, oh my gosh, my life sucks. It's my fault. But if I change things, my life cannot suck and I could be awesome. That's what I did with my life. My life fell apart after COVID. I literally lost everything, guys. I was on unemployment. I was in the ditches of despair, playing Minecraft, sipping on that sweet waffle syrup. And my life sucked. My life absolutely was in the gutter. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't blame everyone else. I said, you know what? This is my fault. And you know who can get me out of this? Me. And I did. I got myself out of that. I read a book every single week. I've been working my butt off. And that's what I want you to do. And that's what you should be doing. Own your decisions. Don't come crying to me. Don't come crying to me. Although if you need to cry to me, if you literally need to do this, use all your bad words. Use all your bad words in the comments. Show me words I've never seen before. If that really helps you, and somehow, go for it. Go, I'm here. I'll be your little emotional punching bag. It doesn't affect me. I've already gotten death threats on YouTube and all this kind of stuff. And it's usually for stupid things, okay? So if I'm actually wrong about something, I could definitely be like, boom, boom, boom. I could take this. I'm not going to break under the pressure. Remember, long-term patience and positioning yourself ahead of the masses is the easiest way to beat the market. I'll see you next week.